Thanks for stopping by. It's Cafe Victoria with Bruce Williams on CFAX 1070.
Well, hello there. You know, it was Kermit the Frog who said it's not easy being green. I think we mention that quite often when we do this segment. Every second Wednesday we do the green scene here on Cafe Victoria. And Francis Littman is the one who's sort of the brains behind this whole thing, who also operates the Creatively United for the Planet event. Hello.
Hello.
Are you feeling green?
Always.
You're not looking green, which is good, because you never do. It's lovely.
Oh, good. I was going to say, isn't it obvious?
But Creatively United for the Planet is an event that happens every year that kind of brings all the green brains together, all the people that do green things and try and get us all to do that. So that's coming up again.
It is April 25th and 26th, and arts and sustainability, music, and it's going to be in a gorgeous location. We've had to change locations this year, but it'll be at the English Inn. 5 acres of gorgeous gardens and all kinds of interesting places to explore.
How great is that?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's been in the past, at St. Anne's Academy.
That's right.
So
in the very first year at St. Matthias.
St. Matthias. So you're moving that. So we'll come back to that shortly.
Yes.
But every time we do this, we bring in some people from different green organizations, green companies doing what they do. Something called Synergy Enterprises. Who's your friend here?
Oh, I think he can introduce himself. It seems he's famous in here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Craig Sorokan is with us, and you've been here before
That's
in other
right.
roles. But welcome. Synergy Enterprises. What is that?
Well, Synergy Enterprises is actually the for-profit company that started all of this, and it's a Synergy, a sustainability consulting company here run by Jill Doucette in Victoria. And she was approached several years ago by some business owners who were looking to actually be able to verify that they were actually green in practice and not just philosophically.
Right.
At that point, she...
Sorry to interrupt, but that's a whole different... I mean, people think, I'm going to do everything I can to use less paper and turn the lights out at night. But no, this is the big step into Greenland.
Yeah, these are all, our program, the Vancouver Island Green Business Certification, is all action-oriented. So these are concrete, specific actions that are measurable when improving your sustainability performance.
How easy is that to do?
It's fairly simple.
Yeah.
It's getting easier to be green. We've got fairly good recycling facilities at our disposal here in urban areas. There's quite a bit of information now that's come out over the last several years that, is a great template for how to become green. And that's what our program is all about. It's about giving people the information, the tools, the resources to become green. Now, going back to your initial question about synergy sustainability, this is actually the VIGBC, the Vancouver Island Green Business Certification, is actually a separate nonprofit that has been formed to be able to certify organizations that's under the Synergy banner. Essentially, the group of business owners came to Jill and formed a kind of a consultation group on how to set the criteria to evaluate whether businesses are green or not. Mm-hmm. West Shore Chamber of Commerce was involved. Yeah, City of Victoria was involved, City of Saanich, Fortis BC. And they formed a set of criteria it took about a year to get into the best practices, to find out what's going to work, how businesses are going to receive this. And last fall, we launched our pilot phase where we actually took the criteria into businesses and had them go through it with us. Based on their feedback, we launched the program last January.
So we're going to go into some of those details in a minute, but Francis Littman, what this means is that the message you and so many others have been saying for a long, long time about going green is not as difficult as you might think. There it is. There's the uptake.
Absolutely. I'm so delighted to see that this is becoming more the norm than something that's kind of different or weird. I think it's really going to just keep growing, actually. We have to. I mean, look at the situation at Heartland. We only have X number of years left. I think it's 25, and then we're going to be looking for another lake to drain and fill.
And they've been bringing in the composting element now. The kitchen scrap thing is underway, so that's all a step as well.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I find even with my own business, I'm a photographer, as you know, and I run the not-for-profits out of there, and my own home as well. And I find that I'm barely putting out my garbage pail between composting and recycling. It's like maybe once every 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and it's only like a quarter full.
It's easy to do.
It is easy.
And it's less to carry down the driveway.
Absolutely.
Who doesn't like that?
Absolutely.
And photography, actually, when you compare photography even 20 years ago, the chemicals and the stuff in the dark room with the bottles of stuff that smelled bad and you'd have to get rid of that was a huge footprint compared to the way it is now with digital.
Oh, big time. When you think about the silver that was being poured down the drains too. I mean, it was very hard to be a photographer and be green. It was very challenging.
And going into the ocean. is where that was going. So, Craig,
Yes.
we have these printed out. I just want to mention that they're printed on both sides of the paper, which is the green thing to do. But
That's a point on our checklist.
Yeah, I know, because there's a checklist, for example, for restaurants or for offices or for retail outlets, and you make it pretty simple because it's right there.
That's right. And in fact, if you want to eliminate the paper, you can go online and do it all online.
For
right?
heaven's sakes, of course you can.
That's right. And part of the processes for businesses to look at going paperless is also a point on our checklist where businesses can save a lot of money by going paperless.
There's also an age thing too. There's people of a certain age who look like me that very often have to print things out just because that's what you're
right.
used to. That's your mojo. That's what you're used to do. But I'm a lot better than I used to be. So on the retail checklist, for example, the categories are building and operations, waste, water, transportation, climate action, purchasing and products, social, and all of these things are pointed out. And of those, what is the most challenging, have you found, that people have the most difficulty achieving?
Well, sometimes when you're a business and you're operating in an older building, like our Synergy office is in a 120-year-old building in downtown Victoria, there's some things we can't get into when it comes down to infrastructure improvements. We can't go in and replace all the old single-pane windows. We can't replace the rusty old boiler downstairs that turns our office into a sauna. Yeah. That's right. So that's just a reality of our organization. So what we do is everything else we can possibly do to improve our sustainability performance, which is where we look at things like water, waste, transportation, where we purchase our products, how we're evaluating our footprint, et cetera.
So, for example, under climate action, there are 2 points of action. They are numbers 35 and 36, if you're following along at home. Climate action, number 35, emissions are measured and along with reduction plans and targets are communicated to staff and public. And number 36, all emissions are offset, including air travel, by verified carbon credits. That's something anybody can do.
That's something anyone can do. The emissions offsetting is very easy to do. I mean, when you're buying a Harbour Air flight or an Air Canada flight, you can buy your offsets. The overall measuring of emissions for larger companies and for companies can be that would be more of a point that would be a little harder to earn, you might say, because you'd have to get into a comprehensive carbon footprint report and then to be able to make sense of it and tell your staff all about it. So,
how much uptake has there been for Synergy since the owner's name is Jill, since she began all of this?
Well, I know on her company was essentially started out of a UVic project, which she's now spurned into a very successful sustainability company. The nonprofit has been also very successful. It's been publicly launched a year ago, and in our first year we hit our target, and we certified 60 businesses over the first year, which is fantastic. And this isn't a bunch of hippies singing Kumbaya, wearing patchouli around the campfire here.
You have no hippies at all?
I don't know about that, but
they're around.
Hippies, but it's certainly not. No, these are business people. These are business people who are looking to improve their performance, to improve their
we'll save some money.
Their bottom line, essentially. And there's tangible marketing benefits. There's human resources benefits about having your staff feel good about what you're doing, educating your staff about what you're doing, educating the public about what you're doing. So there's a lot of benefits when it comes down to it, aside from just doing the right thing. You can save quite a bit of money.
Yeah, and when you're employing people of a certain age, again, millennials are ones that are full up on that because all through, elementary and high school, they learned green. People who, went to school in the 70s and 80s didn't learn it quite as much. Yeah. But it's certainly a part of our lexicon and our way of life now, so it only makes sense.
Well, out on the West Coast here, we're known as being a little more green-minded. But what you'll find here is people also want to make a living and make a buck. And this program lends well to that because it's very practical. We're looking at handing a template for an organization to say, where are we? What's our baseline understanding of what we're doing? There's usually 5-6 low-lying fruit actions that they can take with relative ease. And then there's probably another 4 or 5 points that they can identify as kind of long-term points that they'd like to get to over time.
Yeah, and it's not overnight. I mean, you can do this gradually.
It's not overnight at all. We have a variety of different levels of what we call everything from leaders in sustainability, a group like Truffles Group, who has certified all of their businesses and who does the carbon footprint analysis and looks at everything they do, to a business like Fresh Coast, is a smaller frozen yogurt bar out in Shelburne Plaza. He's a guy from Calgary who's come out here and opened up this business, but he's able to identify that his consumers, his target audience, his employees are going to appreciate the fact that he's incorporating sustainability into his business.
Yeah. I said your name wrong earlier, sorry. Craig Sorokin is here, and he is one of the guys that can tell you all about this whole certification program for your business as well. Francis Littman here as well from Creatively United for the Planet. So in the time that you've been doing that event, I mean, we have a green culture here, but there are galloping examples and more things all the time, like Craig's talking about, of companies that are, I was going to say jumping on the bandwagon. They're not. It's not a bandwagon anymore. It's the way to go.
It is the way to go, but there still is a lot of work for us all to do. I mean, just I witnessed on January 1st on a walkout on the Ogden Point breakwater, garbage cans overflowing with takeout cups, for example, and takeout cups being left at the end of the point. And I thought, does nobody thought that if a wind comes up between now and the time this is picked up, this is all going to end up in the ocean? And also, recycling has a price. I mean, it does take time and energy and water, etc. So we have to really be thinking about our purchasing decisions in a big way too, and going back to refusing some things that we don't need as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you're listening to us right now in an office, workplace, under the waste category on the checklist, number right on the top of the list, reusable dishware provided for staff to use in place of disposable cups, plates, and cutlery. We do that in this building, Craig. It's not difficult. Bring your own stuff, wash it, use it again.
It's not difficult at all. And one of the biggest pet peeves of mine is the Keurig coffee machine. And I'm going to call it out.
Okay.
These machines are not only extremely wasteful, they are very expensive. There are studies that show people pay up to $45 a pound for the coffee they're drinking, and I'm not going to get into it. That
Really?
coffee is not good at all.
Not $45
So,
a pound worth. No.
That's right. And if you can't look at it from a green waste perspective, hopefully you can look at it from what a waste of money it is.
No kidding.
Good for you. I'm
Okay.
glad you mentioned that.
And we're not here to waste the planet either, so we're going to take a quick break and come back. This is The Green Scene. It's our every 2-week feature about environmentally friendly and sustainable businesses. Synergy Enterprises can help you green your workplace, your retail place, your office. We're going to come back and talk more with Craig about that, and Francis Littman from Creatively United for the Planet. They have some new things coming up as well. We'll go over more of the checklist for you when we come back on CFAX 1070.
Call us 250-386-1161 or on your cell at star 1070. It's Cafe Victoria with Bruce Williams on CFAX 1070.
You know what the first step is to ending the stigma around mental illness? It's talking about it. Hi, I'm Al Farabee. January 28th is Bell Let's Talk Day, and everyone at CFAX 1070 encourages you to take part. Language matters. Educate yourself. Be kind. Listen and ask. Talk about it. Let's break the silence. Details at cfax1070.com.
1 of 5 Canadians will be touched by mental illness in their lifetime. Break the silence. On January 28th, let's talk.
You never know what the season will throw your way. Is your car ready for it? Make sure it is at Midas. They'll change the oil, rotate your tires, and complete a visual brake check, all for only $49.95. And for just $20 more, they'll even install your mounted winter tires. Midas offers the personal attention of a neighborhood garage with the protection and guarantees of a national chain. An oil change, tire rotation, and visual brake check for only $49.95. Offer valid on most vehicles. See store for details. Trust the Midas touch.
The reviews are in. Science World's online resource library is a hit with teachers and students alike. Grade 4 teacher Mr. B says, these lessons are hands-on, in line with the BC curriculum and edutaining. Grade 6 student Dylan says, science is rad! Colon-bracket. Colon-bracket. That kid may love science, but he really needs to work on his punctuation. Download free science lessons for all ages at resources.scienceworld.ca. A message from the broadcasters of British Columbia.
Hi, I'm Michael Landsberg. Every day, millions of Canadians are in some way touched by mental illness. Too often, they suffer in silence for fear of being judged, ridiculed, or misunderstood. Luckily, we can do something to help.
January 28th is Bell Let's Talk Day. For every text, tweet using the Bell Let's Talk hashtag, mobile or long-distance call made by a subscriber, Bell will donate 5 cents more to mental health initiatives. On January 28th, let's talk. Visit bell.ca/let's talk.
Right now, in the rest of Canada, it sounds like this. In Victoria, it sounds like this. So get out there. Highland Pacific Golf has one of Victoria's best winter practice facilities with a covered and heated driving range to help you keep your game tuned up all winter long. Or improve your game with a private lesson from a CPGA professional. Book a lesson for 2 and only pay for one. Play Highland Pacific all year. Find out more at highlandpacificgolf.com.
At Simon G Jewelry, we believe everything you wear should reflect who you are and illuminate those special moments when life begins to sparkle. Over 30 years ago, Simon Ganemian created Simon G Jewelry with a simple idea. The most treasured piece of jewelry is the one that best reflects the brilliance of the person wearing it. Come see what we can create just for you at
Palmera Jewelers at the corner of Port and Broad and palmerajewelers.com.
Where the conversation gets steeped. Cafe Victoria Saturday with Bruce Williams at 3 on CFAX 1070.
Ten minutes to 1. This is the Monday to Friday version of Cafe Victoria on CFAX 1070. Ian Jessup coming up after the news at 1 o'clock. This is the green scene. We do this every couple of weeks on the program to bring you up to date on things that people are doing to make our community much more green. Frances Littman is the heart and soul of this. She is the person involved with Creatively United for the Planet. That event is coming up in the spring on a new location, which we'll talk about in a minute. And Craig Sorokin is here today as well from Synergy Enterprises. We're just talking about coffee, takeout coffee cups.
Takeout coffee cups.
Or the ones that are with a machine or something where you work. You can't recycle those.
Yeah, I didn't even realize this until recently, but the coffee cup is one of the largest things you'll find in the landfill.
God, they're everywhere.
And most people aren't aware because they think they're paper and that they can be recycled. They're actually the recycling company's largest nemesis, perhaps, is the fact that people think they're recyclable, but they're not.
Because the wax?
That's right. And we're all guilty of it. It's a convenience thing, and we show up, and you're tired in the morning, and you want a coffee, so you go and you just get a coffee.
And that's that.
That's that. But knowing that, perhaps some people can get their reusable mugs out, dust them off, and bring them into work.
I mean, we've all got them. Francis, you were saying that people have these reusable mugs, but very often you still people walking down the street with the coffee. And I don't know why that stopped.
I don't either. It seems so epidemic. Like you just see, you go out any door of any building in the city and you'll see someone holding a paper coffee cup. And I think if people knew that it wasn't recyclable, isn't it just shocking to think that we're 6 seconds in our hand and it's probably forever in a landfill?
Yeah, I think we're getting the message about water bottles, but the coffee cups, we need to get that out as well.
Yeah.
So, Craig, I just want to go back to what you guys do. So there is a checklist for people that are in an office or a retail location, even a restaurant or something as well. The office checklist, I'm going to go down. I'm really impressed that our building and our company conforms to a lot of this, actually, here at Bell Media. For transportation, for example, bicycle parking provided for staff and clients, 50% of staff commuting to work by bike, transit, carpooling, or walking, subsidized bus passes or tickets for staff, voice conferencing instead of driving across town for a meeting. These are all things that are on the list that people can consider.
These are tangible actions, and some of them, like bicycle parking, are almost afterthoughts when you're at a business. How are my staff getting here? Are we making it easy for them to be here in a sustainable manner? Some businesses, they're geographically isolated, so
sure, it's got to happen.
Out by Sydney, perhaps you're going to have people driving more. But in the downtown core, we're finding that a lot of businesses are getting that checklist. Just it's more convenient for people to bike or bus downtown.
Yep, tap water instead of bottled water. Measure your emissions within the building stuff. Turn the lights off, computers and monitors. Put them to sleep when you're not there. The light bulbs, the appliances, Energy Star appliances. Don't bring in your old beer fridge from home and stick it in the office because that's going to suck energy. You're going to save money in the planet in the long run.
Well, the tap water consumed rather than bottled water here to me is a no-brainer.
Yep.
We have pristine water coming from the Souk watershed, and I can tell you that the water you're probably...
Tap water.
That's right. The water you're getting out of your bottled water companies is probably not as good as the water we get out of our beautiful Souk watershed here.
We're really lucky.
We're so lucky
Very
to
fortunate.
have, and that can save a company hundreds of dollars a year.
Totally. And the landfill and the recycling and the whole thing.
That's right.
So if people want to contact Synergy Enterprises to have this assessment done, how do they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the website is vigbc.ca. The easiest thing to do is just Google Vancouver Island Green Business.
There you go.
Our company, in fact, we're so ahead of the game that they don't even have anything like this in Vancouver. We're getting calls from the city of Vancouver, from the city of Surrey, for us to come out there and present to them to show them what we're doing.
Nice.
At vigbc.ca, you're also going to find our Green Business Directory. Now, in the Green Business Directory, you're going to find our 3 sectors, the office, restaurant, and retail. Every business that's been certified, you can actually go in and see the specific actions that each business has taken. So it's one of the most transparent programs out there around. Some of the other certifications, they certify them, but they don't say what they're doing. Now,
Right.
these are...
You certify.
That's right. We certify and we let the public know that these companies are doing good things. So go on our Green Business Directory. If you want to support a good local business that's doing good things, check it out.
Can you help? Oh, sorry.
I was
Francis,
going to
go
say,
ahead.
and you're also on our business directory, which is VancouverIslandGreenScene.org. So we're trying to showcase a number of businesses doing the same thing, and organizations and not-for-profits. And so if you want to find more about Synergy, it's there, the Vancouver Island Business Certification Program. It's also on VancouverIslandGreenScene.org.
Can you help people with their homes as well?
We actually don't get into people's homes. Now, what's interesting, though, is our checklist can be taken and applied to your house. You can take your checklist and you can say, what are we doing with our waste? Are we doing this?
Right.
What are we doing with our water? Can we put in better lighting? Are we insulating our pipes, etc.? So there's pretty much actions that can be taken into your everyday life if you'd like to.
And there's nothing on here that we haven't heard before. And you know what? You don't have to do it all in one weekend. You can do this gradually at home or in your workplace.
And that's what this program's all about, actually. Is once we have businesses involved, we're not saying, hey, you sit idle here on what you're doing. This is an action-oriented program where we're getting businesses to continually take more action. And what's interesting is business owners are really competitive. And what they want to do is get their score as high as possible. So it's been fascinating to see business owners take the checklist and really dig into it and take action on it.
Well, take some pride in it and be green. Vancouver Island Green Business Certification is what we're talking about. That's the website, VIGBC. Craig Sorokin, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
And Francis Littman, I just want to quickly, so you're changing the location for Creatively United for the Planet, which is the big gathering of all green businesses and activities. So remind us again, it's moving out to Esquimalt.
It's going to be at the English Inn, which is on Lamson Street. It's a beautiful 5-acre property that is just gorgeous to walk around in any time of the year. But it's going to be April 25th and 26th.
It's very green there.
It is. It's lovely. They've got lovely gardens. And in fact, they're even open to the opportunity, or they're putting an invitation out to gardening or horticulture groups, permaculture groups, anyone who might be interested in using part of their garden as a showcase. And we would love to have the festival be the launch of whatever that might be. So whether it be creating a herb garden or a compost area, anything that we can showcase to the public come the festival.
Nice. And I just want to also quickly give a shout out to a book that you as a photographer have created with some school kids. It's a breathtaking book. It's so nice. Tell me about that.
Oh, thank you, Bruce. Tomorrow we're going to be presenting it to the Township of Esquimalt, the Mayor and Council, Parks and Rec, and the library, plus the school board in the very near future. It was a project with Rock Heights Middle School that we helped them green their school through Creatively United for the Planet. And they also showcased their findings of their learnings through coming into Cairn Park and looking through cameras and doing videography and cartooning and working with our Creatively United team. They brought their learning to the festival last year, so it was more than just a project for teacher. This really expanded into a community event.
Cool. Okay.
Thank you.
Let's do a shout out for your websites again.
Okay, it's creativelyunited.org and VancouverIslandGreenScene.org.
And Francis Littman.
FrancisLittman.com.
Great
Francis
pictures
with an E.
Francis with an E. Terrific pictures. Very green. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.